Tired of never having your combo pieces? Are you weary with lands clogging your hands? Fatigued with forking over the big bucks for cards that don't do quite much? Well, if you're in red, these problems seem to come up too much, and that you're always behind your black, blue, and green counterparts when it comes to hand size, ramp, and removal. Playing red has its weaknesses with card advantage, since a discard cost always seems to be attached to their draw spells. But if you construct your deck with this in mind, you'll find that it isn't as much as a cost, but an upside with mechanics such as Madness, Flashback, and other discard payoffs. So, consider the red spell that you overlooked, Thrill of Possibility. Thrill of Possibility reads 1 and a red for an instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, discard a card, then draw 2 cards. Since the discard is a cost to cast the spell, you have to discard the card before the spell resolves and drawing the 2. Now, Thrill doesn't provide you with card advantage by itself. Although, if you pair it up with the right cards, you'll start to wonder how you ever did without this nifty instant. With Commander being Singleton, it might be hard to find it out of the 99. So, we'll jam a few other lookalikes to make sure the card draw never stops. With Tormenting Voice, it's a sorcery speed Thrill of Possibility, Cathartic Reunion, sorcery speed with an additional discard, but you'll draw 3 instead of 2. Wild Guess, sorcery speed Thrill of Possibility, but it's red as its mana cost. Magmatic Insight, a 1 red sorcery, discard a land to draw 2 cards. Now, your opponents will be driven to madness when they find out discarding cards isn't as costly as they think. With the right setup, Thrill of Possibility and others can enable a big swing turn, or just build up your board by discarding cards with Madness. Madness is, for those who don't know, if you discard this card, discard it into exile. When you do, cast it for its Madness cost, or put it into your graveyard. Do you need more cards to play? Angie's Ravager can do a mini wheel every time it attacks, so you can keep slinging spells. Or swinging with Stormkirk Occultist, so you can acquire temporary card advantage whenever you connect. Don't forget, Stormkirk allows you to play lands off its trigger. Now, do you need a big creature? If you're looking to rent, Malevolent Whispers is an act of treason with Madness. Discard it with Thrill of Possibility so you can steal a creature at instant speed, and then use that creature to block and kill a creature attacking you, and then sacrifice your stolen goods before you have to give it back. For 6 mana, you'll get 2 new cards, remove 2 creatures, and get a sacrifice trigger. Just think of the value. Now, playing multicolored, try these on for size. Use Big Game Hunter and kill something threatening, and when the hunter becomes the hunted, use Call to the Netherworld to get him back for cheap. Or any black creature for that matter. Is a 1 kill spell not enough? Well, run Dark Withering and Murderous Compulsion to keep the discarding coming. Feeling blue? Will keep an island at the ready to have Obsessive Search or Circular Logic, so you can draw more or counter a big play. I didn't leave white out. Frantic Purification can take care of those pesky enchantments that red can't deal with. Is playing spells only once not enough? Well, run some Flashback for double the fun and double the value. Flashback reads, you may cast this card from your graveyard for its flashback cost, then exile it. Don't have the mana now? Well, you can discard these and come back anytime. The best part is that some flashback spells have a reduced cost when cast from the graveyard, so don't worry about missing out on the value. Now, Faithless Looting is a card you should already be running in all your red decks, but pair it with Thrill of Possibility and you'll blaze through your deck at amazing speed. Past in Flames allows you to grab any instant or sorcery from your graveyard, flashback or not, for a turn. Play Backdraft Hellkite to have the same effect whenever it attacks. Now, is replaying spells not your thing? How about copying spells? With Increasing Vengeance, copy not once but twice if cast from the graveyard. You have a group select deck? Use Devil's Play to finish off a player, and then flash it back to kill another. Don't have the $150 for a Wheel of Fortune? Well, flashback a $9 Echo of Eons for 3 mana for the same effect. Plus, you shuffle your graveyard into your library. If the board is clogged and you need a creature to get through, Artful Dodge can get it done for cheap. Cackling Counterpart allows you to copy a creature you control. But if you can't get enough card draw, use Thrill of Possibility, discarding your Deep Analysis to draw until you find what you need. Now if you're in black, look at Dread Return. You can flash it back by sacrificing 3 creatures, or use Thrill of Possibility to put a reanimation target into your graveyard, and then bring it to the battlefield. Speaking of Dread Return, you could run its multicolored cousin, Unburial Rites, if in white. Playing against a token deck, cast a Divine Reckoning if you need to wipe the board and keep 1 creature. Ancient Grudge allows you to take out pesky artifacts, while Ray of Revelation does the same for enchantments in white, both doing double duty if cast from the hand and from the graveyard. Is Madness and Flashback not enough discard value? Well, try these. They don't disappoint. Do you have a need for speed? Well, if you put Anger into your graveyard and have a mountain in play, Anger will give all your creatures you control haste. And are you tired of discarding a bunch of cards? Well, Squeak Goblin the Bob, you'll always have discard fodder because he'll return to your hand on upkeep. Now, if you need something to sacrifice every turn, well, try discarding a Gravecaller and a Bloodghast. Then you'll always have fuel for your Aristocrat's Fire. Now, this next one is a sneaky pick. If you're in green and white, discard a Riftstone Portal so you can fix your mana, or play it out if you need the land drop. It doesn't come into play tapped. Now, in white, if you're running Human Tribal, think about Dearly Departed for a slew of +1/+1 counters, or if you're an Enchantress, play Starfield of Nyx so you can recur all of your discarded enchantments. With all this talk about discarding cards, it might seem that you have to run Madness or Flashback to make Thrill of Possibility good, but think about how many Commander games you've been in that have gone to turn 10, turn 15, and how many times you've drawn a land when you didn't need it. Think about it, if you had Thrill of Possibility in that situation, where you could discard that land to draw 2 new cards, it could be the difference between a win and a loss. Now, if you're still not convinced by its power, try playing Thrill of Possibility. If you're running these commanders, you'll be surprised about how good it is. In Greven Predator Captain, it turns all those excess lands you'll be drawing into more actual spells. Same goes for Jory N Ruin Diver. It's a cheap spell, so it'll trigger that as well. Now, Nicol Bolas the Ravager, you can put a reanimation target into your graveyard and use the -4 Planeswalker ability to put that creature into play. Riel the Everwise, it's discard and an instant, so it triggers pretty much both clauses on it. The Locust God, you're drawing cards for cheap, so you'll get those locusts. And Anji Falconwrath, you can untap her if you discard a Madness cards, and we'll keep the chain going. Borborygmos Enraged is possibly my favorite one to play it in. It turns all those excess lands you'll be drawing in the early game into spells, and turns those spells into lands when he's on the field. Bralin Skyshark Rider and Shaz Braz the Skyshark, I think that's how you pronounce it. It's discard and draw all on 1 card. You'll pump both of them up at the same time. It's an auto-occlude in the deck. Now, Thrill of Possibility at the end of the day isn't going to win you the game or destroy your opponent, but it will help you find the answer for the price of 10 cents. And if you're on a budget, Thrill of Possibility is an auto-include. Now, before you go, let me read you the flavor text on the first printing of Thrill of Possibility. The flavor text reads, "Remember all the great heroes who were careful and never did anything risky? Me neither." Now, just think of that quote whenever you're creating your next deck. Make a super fun, janky monstrosity, and don't constrain yourself to format staples. Build the best deck you can, the best deck being the one that creates memories whenever you play. Now, thank you for watching. If you have a card that you would love to see me build around, leave a suggestion in the comment section below. I would love to see what kind of cards you recommend for all the wacky stuff that I can come up with.